The Four Horsemen have invited the building community to join them in the build of a Hot Wheels ID Rodger Dodger with the theme of Street Machine. I've always liked the Rodger Dodger. It's based upon the '73 Dodge Charger SE with the triple opera window option. You can kind of see that there behind the side windows. The casting has had some changes with the ID version, particularly related to how they did the exhaust. On earlier versions, it would stick up along the sides of the engine. And on this one, it comes out on the sides. That came in handy for what I wanted to do. As you can see here, I'm filling in the hood. An excuse to use JB Weld, sure. But I did it the way I like to do it. I really like putting the tape, the flat side on the outside, having the inside of the tape towards, for lack of a better way of putting it, the icky area, the unseen area. So then I just fill in that opening. And later when I take the tape off, I get a really nice smooth surface that, it doesn't require as much work that way. When you put the tape on the inside, then you have this buildup on the outside that is just tough to smooth off, and Lord knows, I spend enough time sanding this thing. I need all of the breaks I can get. And so as you'll see here, when the tape comes off, you get a really nice surface. Not to say it's not going to need spot putty or anything like that, but it's if you pack it in there right using the toothpicks to make sure it gets in all the corners and everything and you spread it out evenly, it works out really well. So once I realized I succeeded at that part, I drilled it and tapped it so I could put it back together later. It has two posts, use the 256 screws. Yeah, pretty typical for, virtually all of my builds. But there you can see, I had to be careful not to have too much buildup on the inside of the hood. And there's the scoop that I want to put on it. That's from benchworkstoys.com. Got it from them. I bought a bunch of parts through eBay from them and then directly from the website. In fact, I just ordered a few tiny parts the other day because I couldn't find any STL files online to print them myself. I put a piece of sandpaper down on the hood, held that against it, sanded it so it would get the curve of the hood. There you can see the sandpaper at the right, how it just sanded the front and back edges to match the curve. Don't do this way at home. There are much better ways to cut the engine off of there. Obviously, the engine had to come off the interior. That saw is exceptionally sharp, and I'm trying to be exceptionally careful. But doing it that way is also exceptionally dangerous. So I do not want you to try that. There you see the side exhausts. That's a little different for this Rodger Dodger. They typically came out along the sides of the engine on the hood. So for what I wanted to do, that worked perfectly. There you see, I want to keep the ID chip, or however it's used to identify the car. I wanted to keep that portion, so I mask that off, and then I shoot the base with a semi-gloss black. I want this car to be dark and mean. I wanted the base to be black. I wanted all of the details except for the wheels and the exhaust pipes. Those I want chrome. Everything else I want black. And except for the color of the casting itself. The body color of the car is going to not be black, as you'll see here pretty quickly. But I blacked out the front bumper, back bumper, door handles, everything else. So now the fun part of trying to pick that tape off of there. I used Model Master Rattle Can Semi-Gloss Black to do the base. I didn't want it super shiny, but I did not want it to be flat. And once I get this tape off, you'll see that you can still see the ID under it. The base being clear, it was funny because I sprayed both sides of the base, so it blacked out all around the ID chip as well. It came out really well, actually. I didn't really realize I needed to, I didn't need to be all that careful masking it. The sanding. You're only going to see part of this because I used Bondo spot putty. I used some Tamiya putty. I sanded and sanded. Drilled out the exhaust pipes. I think they just look a little better when you take the time to drill them out. And I actually, even though I'm chroming it right here with the Molotow pin, I drilled them out a little bit bigger because I wasn't happy with it. And then I Molotow chromed the ends of the pipes. That's the 2mm Molotow pin, which works better for me. Because of how the pipes are under the casting, I didn't have to be all that careful about the top edge. It doesn't show. I wanted the interior to be dark, and so I did not do any other detail to the interior. I just left it black, and there you see the chromed pipes and the drilled out tips. I had gone over the headlights, marker lights, tail lights with the silver Sharpie. And now what I'm doing is I'm using the Tamiya clear orange to do the turn signal indicators. And then on the back, when you actually look at photos of like the 73 Dodge Charger, the back of the car isn't completely true. You see there were a lot of different pictures, and I ended up going with the one that looked the most like the back end that I could find, which has the taillight strips in the center section, and the very centers of those with clear backup lights, so I just left those silver. And then did the remaining amount of the backlights with the Tamiya clear red. And here I'm just using one of those funky little cheapo brushes that you can pick up off Amazon. They're just a weird little felt tip, or it's a weird little tip on them. It is not a brush, a typical brush. There you see it out of primer and being sanded down yet again. I wanted to keep slight indications for the hold downs on the hood. I didn't want to sand them completely off. There's what I went with. Plymouth Plum Crazy Metallic. That's the Model Master rattle can. As you'll note there, it's a two-part system. It goes on and is not super shiny. You do have to clear it when you're through. I wanted to throw a license plate on the back. Yeah, I really like the license plates. I think they add something to it. It's a simple ad. So, and then I did print some other decals. I naturally wanted the biggest engine I could find for that Charger. So I threw a 440 in it, or at least decals. I printed up the decals and stripe for the back, across the back deck, as you see there. Those are just laser printed. It's just black laser printed on clear decal paper, which it works really well. So, and the nice thing about laser printing decals that I really like is the fact you don't have to clear coat them. It's not ink, it's toner. So when you throw it in water, it won't bleed. So that saves you that clear coating process. Plus the decals are just thinner. They don't have a clear coat on them, which makes them just, I don't know if it's a particular decal paper I'm using adds to it, but makes them super easy to use. They just, I don't know. I can't think of a better way to describe it other than they just seem nice and thin. And so they go on really well. Got the wheels off of eBay. And so here I am. Love how the Minwax clear coat went on. And, waited 24 hours for the decals to set. And then I clear coated it. There you see the pipes are really all that stick out from that. Unfortunately, I cut enough off the engine that just drops in there. So I know I did another purple car recently. It was not plumb crazy. I may be, but it wasn't. So, no, I'm not heading off. I'm not ditching lime ice. And I'm not always going to do plum crazy purple. But I don't know. I just wanted it for this because it's a nice dark look that I was looking for a mean Street Machine dark look for it. So I hope you agree that that's a good color for this thing. And coming up, you'll see where we started. I'd really like to thank the Four Horsemen for hosting this event. Love the Rodger Dodger. And be sure and check out the Four Horsemen YouTube channel, Four Horsemen Diecast. And check out each of the members of the Four Horsemen and all of the other people participating in this build. There you see mine. Hope you like it. I'm pretty darn happy with it, I have to say. I believe the cowl induction hood really flows with the shape of the car. I think it goes pretty well with it. It just seemed like a natural fit. I didn't want to go for the usual, just forward-facing scoop. I wanted something a little bit different for this. And I wanted to do a little more work on it than just, say, a wheel swap. So here's some glamour shots coming up. Thanks again for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you like the results. And everybody stay safe and healthy out there. I'd like to thank my Patreon members for all of their support. Have something planned for you guys. And I'll tell you more about that soon. But I'll catch y'all on the next one.